The following program may contain adult language and mature subject matter and does not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of Reality Radio 101, its advertisers and sponsors, or its listening audience. Listener discretion is strongly advised. Good evening and welcome to Canadian Cigar Scene with your hosts Julian Luke and Kevin Newell, right here on Reality Radio 101. To contact us live in the studio this evening in the Toronto, GTA areas of Southern Ontario, Canada, dial 905-725-1907. Toll free in North America, 1-866-905-7325. Worldwide, 1-866-656-5477. Send us an email, instudio101@gmail.com. And now, your hosts of Canadian Cigar Scene, Kevin Newell and Julian Luke.
Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Canadian Cigar Scene. I'm Kevin, and I'm back in the hot seat. Got my compadre beside me, Jew. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, man. It was lonely last week. It was very lonely.
It was lonely, but I was on the phone.
You were on the phone.
I was a little drug rattled, but you know.
Yeah, the oxys were speaking well.
They were, but it all worked out. All worked out in the end. So what's going on? What's happening?
Not a whole lot, actually. Just the end of the school year or the end of the summer and the start of a new school year is always a crazy time. And my eldest daughter, her school starts a week earlier than the youngest kids does. They have this like modified schedule. So
the youngest must just be rubbing it in.
Oh, she's rubbing it in. Yeah, she's like,
yeah.
"Can I have a sleepover? Can I do?"
No. And she's getting hosed.
She's getting hosed.
Oh, that sucks.
It does.
Oh,
it does.
She's got to suffer for the older one?
Hey, it's called putting in your dues.
Oh, she's paid her dues.
Oh, not even close that
yeah,
one.
Jeez. Yeah, that kind of, end of summer. Unbelievable. It's Labor Day this weekend.
I know. I heard commercials from the IBEW, International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers. They had a good commercial on, actually, telling people, like, hey, like a lot of the labor movement helped get stuff like pensions and stuff like that. And I thought, yeah, you know what? Got to give credit where credit's due.
Absolutely. I was a full-fledged union member for many a year.
Attaboy.
Solidarity.
Attaboy. What are you doing on Labor Day?
Probably just going to kick around. Drink some pints.
I won't see it at the parade.
No. Yeah, I may have cut ties. That's all I'm saying. What else was I going to say? End of summer, but it's still carrying on with the weather. I mean, it's still smoking
I'm
hot.
crossing my fingers that we're going to be able to ride this all the way till about, say, Halloween.
I was
would
thinking,
be nice.
I was thinking Christmas.
Yeah.
But, hey, you never know, right?
Southern Ontario, anything can happen. And the Farmer's Almanac does not have good weather in the forecast for Southern Ontario for this winter.
What do you mean?
They forecast it was going to be a smoking hot summer, and they said it's going to be a cold, brutal winter.
Really?
Yeah.
I ain't buying
That's
it.
according to Farmer Jill.
I'm calling bullshit on that one.
Well, I hope so.
Yeah. Were they right about the summer thing, though?
Yeah.
I think they were,
smoking hot summer, I'd say so.
So I think we're got, 14 countries I'm looking at listening in right now? Unless there's like, unless the guy from Jamaica decided to turn off his computer. But who knows? I mean, we're a weekly basis. What do we got? Venezuela, Spain, Paraguay.
Cuba.
Yeah, Cuba.
I mean, they've got past the censors, which is great.
That's right. Cambodia, Bulgaria. Fruit fly. Sorry. Crazy. thanks again, folks, all around the world for your listenership, as we call it. As you can tell, we really don't have a hell of a lot to talk about tonight, so we're going to go through a bunch more.
That's not true.
We got nothing.
That's not true at all. We got lots of stuff.
We got nothing.
We got lots of stuff.
In fact, let's dead air.
Watch Gary panic in the booth.
That's right. There's been a lot of questions. There's always a lot of questions.
There has been. Like, what have you guys been up to for the past couple of weeks? Because we had, it was quite an eventful week. Maybe we should tell the listeners what exactly happened last week and why you were so tuned out.
It was eventful.
It was the fault of the folks at Mombacho.
Mm-hmm.
But I never saw what happened.
Taylor throws the football. Nobody's even around me. We've been playing football for half an hour, throwing the ball around, catch the football, and look at my pinky finger, and it's bent sideways, like it's completely
You didn't even
bent.
feel it happen?
No, I just looked over, and it's like, ooh, that's not good.
That's not good.
Twisted it back into place, and got Taylor to take me out behind the house and give it a tug.
Put a gun behind your snout and let it go.
Winchester justice. So as it turned out, I kept my finger in a cup of ice for the rest of the day, and the other hand was around a cup of beer, and tried to get through the day. And then I found out that it was actually broken pretty bad. Ended up having to have some surgery last week, and little screws and stuff like that put in there. But I got my cast off today.
Don't you find it ironic that you were riding a dirt bike and then doing demolition derby with Deanna from Cretek? And folks, we're not talking like him and her were hitting each other. We're talking they were in cars.
No, I wasn't in those cars.
Oh, you weren't in those?
No, God, stayed away from the demolition.
Yeah, but all that was going on, and just throwing a football. Yeah, you put yourself out for the camp.
Unbelievable.
Unreal. Unreal.
But thanks to the Ontario medical system, from Monday to Wednesday, went through 2 doctors, surgery, and boom, I'm back.
You're done.
Yeah.
You're back. You're back in fine form.
Well,
yeah. I told the listeners didn't know last week, but at the same party, I had lost my phone. And so last week after the show, I thought, I know exactly where it is. Because they wanted something like out of a tree. So, of course, I decided I'm going to climb the tree.
What was in the tree?
Well, it was the swings for the kids. There was kids there hanging out too, right? So I climbed up in the tree and I hooked my hands over the branch and then canted my body up and had my ankles hanging like a sloth, and that's where the phone dropped out. And I thought, I know exactly where it is. And sure enough, I went up there and was talking to Cam, and he says, "We've looked everywhere. Your phone's not here." I said, "I know where it is." And I walked under and I looked 1 foot away from where I was, and bang, it was in the tall grass, just sitting there.
Insane.
And it still had battery after 2 days.
Wow.
Yeah. Good on you, LG.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad.
Yeah, well,
so it was a happy ending.
Happy ending for all.
Happy ending for all.
Yeah,
happy ending.
Yeah, and we live to see another day.
We do.
It's all good. Again, thanks everybody around the world for listening. We are going to. Ouch. Hey guys. Oh yeah. Hey Brian, how you doing, buddy? Hey guys, Brian listening from Omaha, Nebraska.
Fantastic, brother.
All I can say is ouch. Get well, Kev. Hey, thanks very much, Brian. Really appreciate it, man. Omaha. I mean, is Peyton Manning one of your favorites or what? Yelling Omaha like 7,000 times a game. I know he's retired now. But Omaha, Nebraska. Awesome. That's very cool. Very cool. You know what? I had a person come into the shop the other day. He said to me, "I've got these holes in my cigar," and first thing I'm going, "Uh-oh. That's not good." He had no idea what it was all about. He's going, "What does it mean?" I said, "Dude, you've got bugs."
You've got the Beatles, and we're not talking John, Paul, and George.
Yeah,
and Ringo.
That's right. Beatles are bad people, okay? I had to explain to him the whole theory of how this whole thing works with cigar beetles. Basically, how it works is, it's a naturally occurring thing to have beetle larvae on the tobacco leaf. And that stuff can last there forever and ever. It can last there for a long, long time. Sorry. And what happens basically is when a cigar gets rolled, they use natural fumigation to try and get rid of.
I thought you were going to say when a daddy beetle meets a mummy beetle.
That's for another day. There's children listening, Drew. There's children listening. So they fumigate. They cover the tobacco as it's aging in the pilons and stuff in tarps, and they use fumigation to try and get rid of all the beetles, the tobacco beetle itself, because they lay the larvae in the tobacco itself. And after aging, it's hard to believe, but after all the aging that goes on, that larvae can still hatch. What they do to prevent that, after the cigar is even rolled, the larvae can still be in there, but they freeze all the cigars before they export all their cigars to everywhere in the world. So basically all the eggs would expand, crack, and that would alleviate the problem. But sometimes they still survive through that. And what happens when it gets to the consumer, it gets in your humidor, typically what's going to happen is it's always about temperature. Typically anything over 72, 74 degrees could cause that larvae, I guess that the word is, to hatch. And when it hatches, it turns into a little beetle. And the beetle likes to chew on this tobacco. It'll bore holes in your tobacco. It'll bore holes right through the cellophane in the cigars. I've seen it's a mess. And
it's incredible.
Yeah, and I mean one of the tricks, if you think there's something going on, if you see it, like you have a cigar in your humidor and it has if you look at the cellophane at the bottom, it has real fine black dust on it. That's called lava. So what you do, I mean, that's basically meaning that the beetle itself has been chewing on the tobacco, and that's the excrement from it. Okay, so you tap that down on the ground, on the foot of the cigar on a table, like a white table, and you see a lot of black dust on there. You got some problems there. That's a telltale sign that you've got beetle problems. Now, what do? First off, you go through all your cigars, and you want to contain this problem, right? I always tell people to get your cigars, the contaminated ones. Basically, you just chuck them. I mean, a lot of people would still smoke them. It's totally up to you, but I would segregate those from the good cigars. Try and figure out which ones are good, which ones are bad. Look for holes in everything, because it could be all over there in your humidor. But keep your humidor open for a couple of days. Let it dry out a little bit. Do your reseasoning again. You'll see if there's any bugs or anything in there, but typically there's not going to be any larvae in there. So you should be safe as long as you get rid of the bad cigars. It can be devastating for a lot of people because, at the end of the day, you got a nice collection of cigars and you haven't kept an eye on them for months and months, and you look in there and you got beetles. Well, you could have a big problem.
Somebody told me something interesting. I said, most guys won't smoke a cigar that a beetle's been at, and he said, well, to me, the beetles will only go after the best tobacco. Mm-hmm. So if you notice, they always go after the best cigars, so they must have good taste.
Yeah, Jose Padron.
Yeah.
Jose Padron. Classic.
And one other thought on that whole idea of the beetles. This is one more reason why you really run a risk when you buy stuff off the beach in Cuba. And we're getting back into the winter season, and people are going to be very tempted by that $50 U.S. box of Esplendidos, especially when they see it in the shop down south. And even there, it's $600, $700. They're thinking, wow, I'm getting something for nothing. Folks, the real factories, even the Cuban factories, freeze all their product after it's been rolled. Mm-hmm. But the people that are sneaking scraps and wrappers and making fake bands and all that stuff, they are not freezing that product. So if you are going to buy yourself one of those box of complete fakes, or fojibas, as we call them, do yourself a favor and put those in a different humidor than your regular cigars, because you have a much elevated chance.
Mm-hmm. And I even go to the next step, because I firmly believe that only the exported cigars, especially from Cuba, are frozen. Now, the cigars that you buy in the La Casa shops in Cuba, they aren't. I don't believe they are frozen. So what I do when I come back, when I buy my cigars at La Casa, I take my 2 boxes, I put them in the fridge for a day, I put them in a Ziploc bag, I put them in the fridge for a day, then I put them in the freezer for 3 days, and then I put them back in the fridge for a day, and I slowly put them back to room temperature for a day and take my time rehumidifying. So, it's very important to, take care of your stock, because, you're even spending a lot of money in Cuba, when you're buying a couple of boxes of Cohibas or what have you, or, whatever it is. So I'm just looking here. Eric sent us an email. He says, do you guys check for beetles in your stock? Absolutely, Eric. We continually look for beetle infestations, and believe me, there have been cigars that have come into the shop that have beetle in them, and what we also do, and you can do this too. I mean, these things are available at our store for purchase. It's a bug trap. It's a beetle trap, And thanks very much for the email, by the way. What we do, we have them all around inside our humidor. It's what it is it's a sticky little, tacky little surface, and
like a pheromone.
It's got a pheromone and a food. So it's got something to attract for the sex, and it's got something to attract for the food. And if that's what attracts the beetle gets stuck on the trap, and that's how you can tell if there's any sort of infestations in your humidor. So I mean, we go around, we basically about every 3 months changing the traps and checking for bugs on the sticky little pads there.
I mean, the pheromones and the food, like, that's obviously attracting to the male beetle. They must have like a little miniature shoe store with a sticky floor in it for the female beetles, right?
Absolutely.
The females are smart. They don't get on. They don't hop in the box that goes on the plane.
That's right.
They stay home.
Food and sex.
Must be the male beetles.
Absolutely. What else we got, you?
Well, we got a couple of things to cover, but I'm just thinking it's pretty much time for us to maybe cut to commercial.
Absolutely. Again, everybody, thanks very much for listening to Canadian Cigar Scene on realityradio101.com. We'll be right back.
Have you ever thought to yourself, how can I make a difference in my community? Well, there are many adolescents in Durham region struggling emotionally and behaviorally. Hi, I'm Diane. I work at Frontenac Youth Services, a non-profit accredited children's mental health center. We've been working with youth in Durham region since 1972. We offer individual and family therapy, groups, art therapy, day treatment, and residential services. We're currently getting ready for our 3rd annual Friends of Frontenac Gala, and that's where you can help. Monies raised at the gala go directly to benefit the youth by providing for such things as camping and sports memberships and the equipment needed for them to enjoy those activities. Another benefit is summer programming for the residential clients, such as trips to ball games, museums, and special outings. This year, our gala is being held on Friday, September the 23rd, at the Jubilee Pavilion Banquet Hall at 55 Lakeview Park Avenue in Oshawa. Cocktails are from 6 to 7. Mayor John Henry will open the ceremonies at 6:30, and a 3-course dinner will follow at 7:15 p.m. There'll be a silent and live auction with such items as a diamond ring valued at $1,100, generously donated by Jewelry by Sanders, a personal behind-the-scenes tour of Toronto Zoo, and a CN Via Rail package, televisions, and much more. And did I mention there'll be a DJ and live entertainment? All that for $60 a person. Or if you want to buy a table of 8 for you or your friends or your company, sponsorship packages are also available. To buy tickets, contact us at 905-579-1551 or visit our website at frontenacyouthservices.org. So help us make a difference for youth in Durham region and come out and support Frontenac Youth Services on September 23rd and have a great evening. Hope to see you there.
The following program may contain adult language and mature subject matter and does not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of Reality Radio 101, its advertisers and sponsors, or its listening audience. Listener discretion is strongly advised. Welcome back to Canadian Cigar Scene with your hosts Julian Luke and Kevin Newell, right here on Reality Radio 101. To contact us live by telephone, dial 905-725-1907. Toll free, 1-866-905-7325. Send us an email. Our email address is instudio101@gmail.com. And now, right back to your hosts of Canadian Cigar Scene, Kevin Newell and Julian Luke.
Hey, we're back, folks. Thanks again for listening all around the world, and much appreciated. Canadian Cigar Scene with my compadre, Julian. How you doing, Ju?
Just as well as I was before the brief commercial break.
I got nothing. Okay. Well, let's see here. I think it's time to go into some Victory Cigars events. What do you think, Jew?
Yeah, you might want to get a pencil to jot these down.
Yeah, or stab yourself in the heart.
There you go.
Ah, yeah. Cigar of the week this week is the Psycho 7 Toro in Victory Cigars. So pop on in because there's a new regular price on that cigar.
Oh, is there?
Yeah.
Excellent.
It's crazy
Excellent.
price, too. Yeah. Thanks to everyone for attending our Nine and Dine, other than myself last week because I gimped up my freaking pinky. I heard everyone had a great time.
They did, yeah. And, I'd like to echo your sentiments, especially thanks to the folks from Brigham, Kretek, House of Horvath, Just Cigars and things. They were all there and really represented themselves well and played some good golf, I might add. Trifoli's really upped his game.
I heard he got 2 hole-in-ones. That's amazing. They're both in par 4s. It was, insane.
It was wonderful.
Yeah, I know he's listening, too. And he's laughing his ass off right now. The guy's got game. He's a beauty, too. Probably one of our favorite, he's a listener, too. Loyal listener. Gotta like him. Mark September 24th in your calendars, folks. Why? Why, you ask?
Why?
Okay, thank you. It's October Cigar Fest at Victory Cigars with special guest, drum roll, Rocky Patel
himself
coming in the house. If stuff like schnitzel, sauerkraut, and accordion music plus lederhosen gets your mojo going, then you might want to show up at Victory Cigars. We're flying the beer in right from Munich. $30 gets you in, gets you your cigar, some beer, some food,
entertainment,
absolutely.
DJ. We're working on the Maple Suns.
Yeah, we're trying to pull that one off. So they've been separated. They got a little separation anxiety right now. So
we've got a Maple Sun.
We got a Maple Boy.
We got a Maple Boy.
New stuff at Victory right now. We got the new stuff in the shave shop. We got the Dapper Dan pomades in. Yeah.
I noticed your hair is looking like a lot fuller and thicker.
That's what it does, yeah, except for that big round friar tuck thing on the top. New stock of classic and whimsical canes, including one that is carved to look like its handle is a gun in a holster.
I know. I would not recommend taking this into neighborhoods where there's a lot of tension with law enforcement because it does kind of look like you're, Gary Cooper with a 6-shooter maybe on the end of a stick.
And I would also recommend never using the word whimsical again. Okay.
I knew you were reading that part. I didn't put that there. You wrote that.
I don't write any of this. I just repeat it. Jesus Christ.
Your denial is egregious.
Whimsical. Cigar Scene Happenings. Over to you, Jew.
All right, we've been hammering this for the past few weeks. Today, it's your last chance to sign the plain packaging petition at www.change.org. Folks, the Canadian government is trying to make you have plain packaging on all your cigar boxes and to have all the bands be generic green. It's going to result in fakes. It's going to make the product look horrible, and it's just, frankly, not necessary. We've got 850 people to sign the petition. We need 150 more to get to the target of 1,000. When you think of the number of petitions that you sign on a day-to-day basis, or like do fantasy football leagues or do, Blue Jay All-Star ballots and stuff like that, you owe it to yourself to go to change.org and look up the plain packaging petition and please sign it. Can't say any more about that.
Absolutely.
Also, another one we've been mentioning for several weeks. January 17th till 21st of this coming year is the date for the Nicaraguan Cigar Festival. This is the biggest up-and-coming, festival, if that's not an oxymoron, that I'm aware of. NicaraguanCigarFestival.com is the website. Tickets are now available for the Kentucky Barn Smoker by Drew Estate on Saturday, October 1st, 2016. $65 US gets you 10 cigars, like Kentucky Fire Cured in the pigs and all that, a few Liga Meisters and stuff. However, you do have to pay to get there, so it's may not be quite the deal it seems on the first hop. But $65
unless you live in Kentucky.
Yeah, if you're in Kentucky, that's great. Lou C is having a golf tournament at the Rake for the Rake Club at Royal Woodbine on September 23rd. If you're a member at Royal Woodbine in Ontario, look into that golf tournament. It promises to be very cigar friendly, and it's for a good cause. They're raising money for a children's hospital, I believe, that they've been working with. And before we do our shout-out, let's do the shout-out first. Shout-out, a new one that Merv told me about, Cool Smokers in Kincardine, Ontario, way cool. Up north.
Yep.
He says, ask for Sean. They actually have a walk-in humidor now in Ontario's north, and their website is coolsmokers.com. So if you're in lovely Kincardine, we wish you all the best with your new business. Go and support it. And last but not least, if you should happen to bump into Sal Lucchetta, a.k.a. Don Salvatore, today, please bow your head and kiss his ring. It's his birthday. In fact, he's turning 50 today.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a big one. 5-0 like Jack Lord.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chatted with him this morning. He was on his... I chatted with him at... It was 11 o'clock. He was on his third Padron 64. He says, I'm smoking the entire top effing row.
Good for him.
Yeah,
Good for him.
I said, you going to have a couple of drinks with that tonight? And he's not a drinker, right? He doesn't drink very much. He says, I'll just have a whole slew of family over. They'll drink all my expensive booze, and I'll sit there with a one glass of vermouth. That's what he drinks.
Why doesn't he have some of that Pimm's? My God! Some Pimm's cup.
A $12 bottle of booze, and that's
attaboy.
That's his. But he's a beauty. I love the guy. He's a great guy. Person walks into a cigar store, drum roll, pling, and says to me, do I have? I'm buying a complete selection of cigars. I've got some Cubans, I've got some Nicaraguans, I got all different sizes, flavor profiles. Do I have to separate them? Is it important to separate them so they're not touching each other?
And the wrappers, like what do you do?
Well, first off, let's talk about the cellophane first.
All right.
The cellophane. People saying, leave it on. Do I take it off? I like the idea of cellophane. I wish every cigar had cellophane on it, just because
it protects it.
Yeah, the people coming into the humidor, they want to touch the cigar, and I don't want people's fingers on my cigar if I'm putting that in my trap.
Yeah.
If it's going to my word hole, I want to be. This is no fingers.
But that's where you've got to show them the etiquette too. I mean, folks, if you walk into a humidor and you're picking up an unwrapped cigar, you got to pick it up by either the middle or closer down to the foot where it's lit.
Yeah.
Don't put your fingers on the part that's going to go in somebody else's mouth unless that mouth is yours.
And don't run your nose up and down the entire thing. Come on, people.
Yeah.
Unless you have a pretty good idea that you're going to buy that cigar, that's I know it's all part of the whole experience in the humidor and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, if you're not just choosing to buy that cigar, you have oils on your fingers, and if somebody decides that, hey, maybe I might want to age that $75 Cohiba Siglo 6 for a couple of years, the oils on your finger are going to stain that wrapper sooner or later. So, just show some respect for that cigar.
Not to mention that lip fungus you might want.
That's right.
Perfect.
So, cellophane itself, when it goes into your humidor, depending on how long how long you want to age your cigars. If you're going to age your cigars for a few years, I suggest you take it out of the cellophane.
Yeah.
Let everything mold in together. Let it all marry. It's not going to hurt anything to have a Cuban cigar with a Nicaraguan cigar or anything like that. But if you do have flavored cigars, do not put them in with the same humidor with your premium cigars.
And some of those Kentucky Fire Cured, I think,
they can
put a little bit of an infusion.
Absolutely.
And those Tobacco Specials also from Drew Estate.
Anything that's infused, anything a little more pungent, then you're going to notice. You will notice a difference. So just use your discretion. If you can smell a completely unique and different smell other than tobacco, like I'm talking fire cured tobacco or coffee infusion or a vanilla flavor or anything like that, then don't put it in with your other stuff.
I had a guy. I was so surprised. He had he knows a lot about cigars, and he has a decent sized humidor. And I said, he said he's buying pipe tobacco and keeping it in the humidor. And I was like, dude, you can't do that.
Sweet Jesus.
Man, you're going to get that, all those different Burley and Virginia and all those different flavors and casings. And it's going to, make your cigars taste funny. So
Right.
And the same goes true with weed, I think, too.
Yeah. Keep that. You use different humidor for that.
Different humidor.
Yeah.
Get the weed
and different humidity, too. Right?
Oh, is it really?
Absolutely. Yeah. I think it's like 62 or something. I could be wrong.
Really?
I think it's like 62. Yeah,
there
it's
you
a lot less. Remember the old days? Let's go back to your old days, Jew. Back in the old times,
horseless carriage days.
Yeah, that's right. Remember the old days you used to see in movies and stuff. Grandpa taking his cigar, dipping it in cognac, and then lighting his cigar.
Yeah,
is that still true to this day? Should people be doing that?
Wasn't Churchill the guy that was really famous for that? Didn't he used to dip his the end of his cigar in port?
Port, I think it was.
Yeah.
But
I've tried it actually, and you do get a nice flavor with it, but you don't want to soak it because then the tobacco swells and you can't draw, and it's
right.
It's a bit funny, but I mean, with it, if you want to give it a runner, I wouldn't recommend doing it with the most expensive cigar in your box.
No. Typically, I mean, back in the 30s and the 40s, I mean, cigars were shipped dry too, right? I mean, they were a lot drier. It's not like they had, Bovitas. I mean, things are shipped a lot quicker now from factory to store to consumer, So, I mean, back in the old days, I mean, cigars sat on a shelf and they were dry. So to add humidity to them, that's what a lot of reasoning was behind it. And if you're going to add humidity, it may as well have been booze, right?
Yeah, might as well.
Yeah, but I always suggest to people keep the little jigger of cognac beside you to sip on it while you're smoking the cigar.
Now, interestingly enough, when you talk booze, there's also a guy told me a great tip for his pipe, because a lot of guys, when they're running a pipe cleaner down their pipe, they'll use like alcohols and stuff like that, which can impart like a funny taste. My friend Ken says the best thing to use is a dark rum, and put that on the pipe cleaner and use that in your pipe, and that way you'll still have the effect of the alcohol, but it produces an incredible sweetness inside the pipe, and so it doesn't poison. In fact, it sometimes makes
could you eat the pipe cleaner
better.
Then?
Yeah, absolutely.
A dark rum, I hate to waste it.
Yes,
that's right. Absolutely,
it's good stuff.
Yeah, that makes sense, and in that way, at least the rum is like more of a natural ingredient than like any sort of an alcohol.
Oh, for sure,
alcohol-based thing.
For sure.
But
you ain't got much time.
Well, I'm just thinking.
I know you're looking through this entire Rolodex of things you wanted to cover today, but you've bitten off a little more than you can chew, don't you think?
One last question.
All right.
Hygrometers. Okay? Or as people like to call them, hydrometers.
Hydrometers.
There's no D in hygrometer, people. Okay? No D in hygrometer. Okay? That's all I like to say.
All right. That's it?
Well.
That was it?
It's just.
That was quick.
It's one of those things that I have.
A couple of other things I saw in the news today, because the latest Cigar Aficionado, the October one, is actually hitting the newsstand not too soon from now. The Rocky Patel 20th Anniversary Robusto Grande.
What did it get?
90 points.
Boom! Got him in the humidor.
Got him in the humidor.
Yeah.
Good
Who's
cigar.
on the cover of that CA?
I'm not sure if it's the cover, but Ray Lewis is featured.
Ray Lewis.
Is it Ray Lewis?
Yeah.
He wasn't at the IPCPR this year?
Yeah, we met him. I met him a few weeks ago.
Well,
yeah.
you met him.
Beauty.
I didn't even know who I was talking to.
Beauty. Super Bowl champ, man. Come on.
Oh, okay.
Jeez.
So we got that. And apparently on their website they got a bunch of like videos, which I hope they're not Ray Lewis Jr., but certainly Ray Lewis Senior's on there.
That's a little sticky.
And a couple of things. I forgot about the one thing we saw at IPCPR, but they're profiling these new La Flor Dominicana cigars. Remember the ones you could buy? They're like $30 a stick in the United States, but they're individually they have an artist who makes every cigar look different. No two are the same, and he does all that sculpting with green Candela wrappers and different Habano and Connecticut wrappers, and it makes every cigar look like a work of art. Apparently there's an article about them in Cigar Aficionado magazine. And it turns out that Foundry Cigars and AJ Fernandez are collaborating.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they got a new cigar called Time Flies. So a little bit of news happening, and that new edition of Cigar Aficionado should be in our shop sometime in the next couple of weeks, I would think.
Yeah, I think the next couple of weeks. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, we'll have it.
Yeah.
Or your local tobacconist will have it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Big show next week. Who do we got on?
We got the pipe guru, Michael Parks.
Michael Parks.
Michael Parks is coming.
The Bowmanville Baron.
Yes. And you know what? And he told me he wants to talk about pipes in movies.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah. So I'm sure that there'll be a little bit of Lord of the Rings mentioned.
Well, if anybody has anything they want to add to that, so anything about pipes in movies, send us an email and we'll add your comments to the to the banter.
If you've got a favorite movie, radio at victorycigars.ca.
Boom.
Send it to us.
Yeah, and as I look at the time again, Jew, here we've whittled away another show.
There we go.
Show number 58 in the Chronicles of Victory.
The Chronicles of Victory.
That's right. Again, folks, thanks very much for listening. You're listening to Canadian Cigar Scene. You know how to catch us. Julian is Horatio. I am Victory Garman on Twitter. We have the Facebook. We have the Instagram. And you've already got the email, radio@victorycigars.ca. Don't forget pipes and movies, okay? Thanks again for listening to Canadian Cigar Scene on realityradio101.com. Now it is time to have a cigar.
Thank you for listening to Canadian Cigar Scene with your hosts, Julian Luke and Kevin Newell, right here on Reality Radio 101.